Hey guys, welcome to Gracie Schwarzwald. I'm here with Erkan Mete, and we're going to continue with our Gracie Jiu-Jitsu Self-Defense Course. And we're focused again on escapes, standing self-defense. Okay, so what we're going to focus on now is a different kind of headlock, and that is the front headlock. Okay, this could be a guillotine or a front headlock. The way I define it, again, this is just my personal thing, is a guillotine, I just have the head. Front headlock, I have the arm and head. Called arm and guillotine, doesn't really matter. The point is I have his posture broken down. Okay. Anytime you get caught in a headlock and your posture gets broken down, it's very, very difficult to break the hold. You're fighting from an incredibly weak position. So often you will end up having to go to the ground where you can get to a position of superior leverage to then break the hold. That's really important. Anytime my opponent gets me in a hold, if I'm compromised or I don't have the strength to break it, the good thing is, if you're holding on to me, I can manipulate us both, right? I can move. You can move me, but I can move us as well, right? So rather than fighting in a bad position, right? If I get you in a headlock and I bent you over, try to break the grip, you just can't, right? But here now, you're in a much better position to break the grip. Okay. Same thing with the front headlock. So that's why we focus so much on when I go to grab you in a headlock, what is your posture? Right? Yeah. It's not just you grab me in a headlock and I get used to practicing from here where I give up that posture. Okay? Because again, at that point, I've seen some people try to teach, you know, the grip breaks and it's not going to happen from there. That's just a fantasy. Okay? So, as you've seen with the headlocks and you'll see further, it's a timeline. Right? So he gets me in a headlock. Get me in a headlock. Right? Get me in a headlock. Give me a headlock, yeah. And then get me in a headlock, right? And then he bends me down, and there's various things, and then we go to the ground. So it's a situation of I don't let him get his arm around my head, I don't let him lock his hands, I don't let him pull me down. Okay, same thing here with the front headlock. Now the difference is simply this, okay? If he keeps his space small and never lets me pull his posture down, there's no front headlock. There's no way I'm gonna be able to get his posture broken down. Okay, so it's really important to keep that good posture. But it happens sometimes you get your head posture broken down. Now here's the thing, lift your head back up. It's very hard to lift his head back up. That should be our first goal though, is to reattain the posture. Okay, if I can't, then we go to our other escapes. Okay. But ideally, we're going to retain our posture, and here's how we're going to do it. If he goes over my head here, and I try to lift my head, I can't, okay? And I don't have long because he's going to eventually start choking me, okay? Where our hips are in relation to each other, close and far, it will decide whether I escape this submission, I escape this choke, or I get submitted by the choke. And here's the tricky part. At different times of the timeline, he wants to be close or he wants to be far. Different times of the timeline, I want our hips close and far. And if you really want to get deep into this, you can look at my guillotine, my guillotine code DVD. We go heavily into this. But before he is really locked in the choke, because once he locks in the choke, he wants to bring his hips in and choke me. Because he needs to get his hips, go ahead and lock the choke, under his arms for the power, okay? Now, the same problem is here. When I'm here, the reason I can't lift my head is my legs are behind my shoulders and my neck, so I don't have the power to lift my head. So before the choke is really locked in, I'm gonna reassert my posture. And I'm gonna do that by bringing my hips under. So you can do this before he's really locked his hands, and you can potentially do this after. So when he snaps me down, the first thing I want to do is walk my hips in. Okay, now you'll notice, let's turn this way, that I catch my arm and I pull him in. Okay? One of the mistakes people do when they go for the guillotine, I don't want to get too much into this, if you want 5.5 hours of this, the guillotine, is before they've really locked the choke, they get too close. And now lift your head, and they lose the guillotine. What I need to do when I first get it postured down is get my hips away until I really establish the choke, then I come in. So there's a little bit of a timeline there. So when he goes here, before he's really locked the choke, I'm actually gonna catch his body, and I'm gonna pull my hips underneath me. Now, my hips is going to his hips, and I'm looking up. From here, my hand can come and I can pop the grip if I need. Okay, now look at my posture, pull my head down. So I'm not looking this way, forward, where he's strong, he's gonna pull my head back down. I'm driving my hips in like a bridge and looking up. If this hand is still here, I can simply pop it off, turn the corner. Now you can do this when the hands are already locked. Often it's much better that the moment I start going over his head, he's already in here. So he goes, I'm already in, okay? I drilled this with a friend of mine who actually fought, I think it was Pequeno, very great guillotine guy out of Brazil. And we just worked this over and over, this idea of getting this posture back right away, because the instinct for most people is to what? Stay down. That's not an instinct.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Is to try to pull away, stay down, and now I'm going to submit you. Right? His instinct he needs to drill is as soon as I go here, he's up. Now I really want to emphasize this. What happens is people go like this, and they stop about here with the hips here. And then they try to lift, and they're still keeping their head down. I drive my hips forward and my head up. And then, even if the arm is here, keep it over my shoulder. Here, I look and turn it off. So we're here. Good. Okay. And that is our early primary defense beyond, of course, just having good posture. Okay, but if you get caught, and I'll do this from the guard, I'll do this many places. Anytime somebody reaches over my head, immediately I bring my hips to theirs, head up, and I can clear the arm. Okay, so this is our early front headlock defense or guillotine. Again, this works even if I have the arm in. He drives his hips in, postures and breaks the hold. Okay, so one of my favorite defenses.